The rot beneath the orchard. The night I was fired, I stood in front of the villagers, my hands shaking, the weight of their laughter a suffocating fog around me. "Look!" I shouted, my voice cracking as I pointed to the withered crops, corn stalks bent and blackened, their vitality sucked away. "It's the soil! The land is cursed!" They erupted into a cacophony of jeers. "Cursed? More like cursed with a lunatic!" My brother's voice sliced through the air, and with it, the last vestiges of my family's support. I was a soil necrologist, a profession so heavily mocked by those I should have been able to rely on that I became a specter haunting my own life. My mother wept for my lost sanity. My father recited the family's lineage like a prayer, pleading with the ancestors to reclaim their honor. I was an embarrassment. I was insane. And as I turned to leave, the echoes of their laughter followed me like a shadow, heavier than any of the corpses I would later uncover. Years passed, each day more oppressive than the last as I buried myself in the study of necrological agriculture. I delved into the sinister depths of soil, mapping the ancient graves that twisted below, discovering the roots that wrapped around bones like a lover's embrace. The ridicule of my past became a fire that drove me deeper into the unseen horrors. The villagers, my family, had dismissed the connection between decay and death. But I was determined to expose the truths they refused to acknowledge. I wanted them to see what I had seen, to understand the malevolence buried beneath their feet. And then it happened. After years of toil, I published my findings in a paper that sent ripples through the scientific community. I had become an expert, my work cited in conversations that once excluded my name. I was no longer a pariah. I was a beacon of warning. I uncovered the hidden horrors of necrological agriculture, how the dead could poison the living, how their restless souls could seep into the soil, corrupting the land itself. To some, I was a hero. To others, a harbinger of doom. But with that recognition came an undeniable weight, a darkness that enveloped me. I returned to my hometown, a place I had long avoided, carrying with me the knowledge of what lay beneath the surface. A storm brewed overhead, clouds twisting into grotesque shapes, and I felt a shiver of anticipation. My family had invited me back, claiming they wanted to mend bridges. But I knew better. They were driven by fear, not love. The air was thick with tension as I stepped through the threshold of their home. My mother's face was pale, her eyes wide with a mixture of hope and dread. "You've come back," she whispered, as if I were a ghost made flesh. My brother's gaze flickered with something akin to regret, but it quickly hardened into skepticism. "You think you're some kind of expert now?" he sneered, crossing his arms. "Please, just listen to me," I implored, my voice steady despite the quaking of my heart. "You need to understand the truth of this land." They scoffed, exchanging glances filled with doubt. But even as the words left my lips, the walls of the house seemed to shift, shadows deepening. It was as if the very earth was listening, its secrets whispering through the cracks of the floorboards. As night enveloped the house, I guided them to the orchard, an expanse of trees festooned with withering fruit, their branches heavy with decay. "Look at them!" I exclaimed, gesturing to the trees. "They're sick. The roots are tangled with something malevolent beneath." My family stood in stony silence, their expressions a mix of disbelief and discomfort. Suddenly, a low rumble echoed from the ground, a vibration that surged through the earth and into my bones. The trees shuddered, their branches twitching like skeletal fingers grasping for something lost. And that's when it happened. A tremor sent the soil heaving, and a dark mass erupted from the ground, a grotesque amalgamation of roots and something more sinister. A face emerged, twisted and anguished, eyes wide with despair, as if it had clawed its way out of the depths of hell. My family gasped, and for the first time I saw fear etched deeply into their faces. "What is that?" my mother shrieked, stepping back as if the very ground beneath her was cursed. "What have you done?" My brother's bravado crumbled, replaced by the raw terror of witnessing the consequences of their disbelief. "It's not just the soil," I murmured, my voice barely a whisper. "It's the dead. The land has been tainted by the souls who cannot rest. This is what I've been trying to tell you." The apparition writhed, its voice a cacophony of whispers, mourning the life it had once known while reaching out toward them, a grotesque echo of their own lives intertwined with the lives of the deceased. The air thickened with despair, suffocating my family as they realized the truth I had fought to unveil. The laughter that once filled our home was now replaced with the haunting cries of those who had been buried in silence. And then, just as swiftly as it had emerged, the entity retreated back into the ground, leaving only a patch of disturbed earth, the orchard forever scarred. My family stood in stunned silence, their eyes wide with horror, the weight of their disbelief crashing over them like a tidal wave. "I told you," I said softly, tears streaming down my face as I turned away from them. "I told you the truth." As I walked back toward the house, I felt a sense of resolution, as if the darkness that had followed me for years finally found its release. I had become what they had feared, a warning etched into the very soil we stood upon. I was no longer a disgrace. I was a testament to the horror they had dismissed. Outside, the storm raged on, but within me stirred a quiet understanding. I had faced the rot beneath the orchard, and now they would have to confront their own. In their mockery, they had built their own prison, one from which there would be no escape.